What's happening, people? And once again, welcome back to youtube.com/CubCamTV for this, another edition of Cubreacts, as we do something a little bit different this morning. I've been planning this one for a little while and been planning how it's going to run, and I've decided to run it as a kind of tier list scenario. We're going to go back and start analysing older albums and rate them in sort of today's sound and design sort of market. We are going to kick off with one of the biggest albums of all time within the Afrobeat sound, and that is, of course, Made in Lagos, an album we did cover very, very heavily when it landed, but we are going to come into this and basically rank it track for track. Again, on how well the tracks have kind of stood the test of time. If I was listening to them now for the first time, how would I rank them? That's what we're going to be doing today, so hopefully you guys do enjoy. As always, if you are new to the channel, please make sure you are getting involved by hitting that subscribe button on the right-hand side of the page, turning notifications on, of course, leaving a like, leaving a comment, and all of that good stuff, as you can see. So, we are going to be getting into a tier list. I've got it all set up on the right-hand side of the page, as you should be able to see. We're going to be ranking this track for track as we go. Now, I have got notes that I've made previously to make sure that I do get everything across the way I've done it. I had a listen through the album last night. I had another listen through this morning, and I was making notes all the way through. So we are going to start off with Reckless, which is obviously the introductory track to the project. Now, for Reckless, this is an introductory track that does hit home very strong. I love the kind of bass line that goes on with this one, those creeping strings across the intro, the kind of skippy, scatty vocals, and the saxophone backdrops really do stick with me. On a sort of lyric level, it's safe to say this one isn't the most conscious or anything along those lines, but it definitely does hit home. It's a tune that I've run in the dance and always causes a fair bit of damage. People sing along to it. It has that factor to it. So we're going to kick off by putting this one into a solid. I remember when I reacted to this was one of the first tracks I did actually react to off the project. Absolutely loved it as a tune, and definitely one that I have spun on radio numerous times as well. Right, moving forward, we're not going to stick around on this too long, so I want you guys to have a chance to get involved as well. The second track on this listing we're going to get into, we are doing it in order of the actual official album listing. So number 2 on here is Ginger. Now, I'm putting Ginger straight into top tier again, because I've seen what it's done in dances. I've seen what it's done in live performances. I've seen the kind of union this has brought. If you have a look at Wizkid'S live performance of the Made in Lagos tour at the O2 Arena in London, when Burner comes out and they do this, it gets a wheel up because it's crazy. The interaction is crazy. The amount people love this tune is awesome. And of course, what Burner does with that kind of second hook where he has the key change, it catches people even to this day, and it sends people in a different direction. It's a wicked tune. Definitely one that I would love to see them revisit again. They have done with Ballon d'Or, but it's a collab series, I suppose, that has always worked and probably will always work as well. So there we go. I'm going to put that one straight into top tier. Now, moving forward, Long Time featuring Skepta is next on this list, and I'm going to be entirely honest, this one is going to drop into the meh category. For me, this was meant to be the follow-up to Bad Energy, and Bad Energy remains one of the best tunes we've ever heard Wiz on. It's a tune you can play anywhere. This one, however, I don't know, it just fell a little bit flat for me, especially listening back to it now. I don't think it really has that kind of instantaneous grab that that Bad Energy has, and I feel that's what you have to compare it to, because that's a collab these two have done before. It didn't quite hit the mark, especially in regards to the actual verse from Skepta. It's not as strong. I don't know, it just didn't really feel like it hit home as much. And bear in mind, the actual overall standard of this album is very high. If you were to have this collaboration as a standalone without having Bad Energy in mind, it would probably be very, very highly rated. But there's a reason I feel this one isn't talked about as much from this project. It's actually one of the lower points for me, which is why it goes into meh. Now, moving forward, Mighty Wine. This one for me is going straight into the solid category. A really nicely arranged tune, lush saxophone. Again, the rhythms are really, really tough. The arrangement's very dreamy. There are some smooth vocal bits going on with this one as well. Definitely one for the late night listening crew. And again, this is a tune that a lot of people have openly kind of said they really, really enjoy. And again, I'm really excited to have it in the list. Obviously, we're running through the entire thing today, but I think solid is where it deserves to be. Again, I've seen what it does in dances, and this is basically based off my personal experience with the album, and how me personally I feel about tunes. I'm not taking kind of chart rating or anything like that into this listing, which may cause a bit of controversy a little bit later on. But there we go. Moving forward, again, I don't want to stick around on any of these for too long. Blessed is next on the list, obviously featuring the legendary vocals of Damian Marley, and I'm going to put this into good. Despite how much I do enjoy this one and how much I loved it at the time, I think it does lack a little bit of longevity. Like, I like the arrangement, I like the vocal tones. I definitely think Damien is the highlight, as you would expect it to be. With a Damian Marley collaboration, you'd expect him to be the highlight regardless. And obviously the chorus itself is very catchy, but apart from Damien's verse, I do struggle to remember bits of the tune. Listening through it, I was trying to remember the lyricism and I couldn't. I remember Damien's verse, but I don't particularly remember Wiz's, and I feel to kind of get ahead on this as an arrangement listing, you do need to kind of have that memorability factor the whole way through, which you do have with Ginger, you do have with Reckless, and you do have with Mighty Wine. I don't think you necessarily have it with Blessed as much. It's a lot more focused in and around the chorus. And again, the standard of this whole album is very, very high, so me slating things isn't necessarily me saying they're bad. It's just in comparison to the rest of the track listing. Do bear that in mind. I'm not out here trying to upset people. Moving on then, Smile. This was a cool tune. I remember doing the reaction to the video for this one, and I really did like it. Some really cool kind of post-reggae flavors on this one. It's a collab that makes a lot of sense as well. It's a tune that I definitely did enjoy listening to when it first kind of came out there. Obviously, Her absolutely kills this one. I've got this written down as being in good, so we'll put that one just ahead. We'll tell you what, we'll put it ahead of Blessed for the time being. Again, we might move a few of these around towards the end. But again, I did really, really enjoy it as a collaboration, and it's a tune a lot of people enjoyed as well. It does have that kind of memorability factor about it, more so than Blessed. That one might make its way up into solid. We'll see how we go with the rest of the arrangements. Now, next up is No Stress. Now, for me, this was a special point for YouTube. For me, this was the first kind of tune that I put up that really kind of blew up out of nowhere. This one was getting like thousands of views on Twitter as well. And that's because Wiz retweeted my reaction for it. And because of that as a kind of feature, but also the love I have for this tune regardless, this is the tune I've run on radio so many times. It's a tune I've run on radio when I'm feeling sad. It's a tune I've run when I feel sad in general. And it does have that that idea of it, just don't chill out a bit. Like, don't worry. There's no stress. Just don't have any stress. Chill out. And that has a very special place in my heart, which is why I'm going to put this into the top tier. I would still say that No Stress is potentially my favourite track off Made in Lagos as an overall arrangement because of the standalone factor behind it. Like, you could play No Stress on its own. For me, it stands alone probably stronger than a lot of the other tracks on the album. It's a track you can play out of context a lot of the time, and people do still really, really like it. And obviously that intro just blow, blow, blow. That just intro just has something very special to it. But there we go. Moving forward then, True Love is next. Now, True Love, I'm also going to put into the top tier bracket. Having seen this one perform live by Teowa at Brighton, check out our interview with Teowa. It's available on the channel, and we spoke to him directly after that performance. It automatically goes up once you've heard this one live. This is such a warm, almost sweltering arrangement style. You feel the heat when it lands. It's a beautiful collaborative experience. The combination of Projects and Teowa joining Wiz on this one really, really works. I do think Teowa especially kills it. It has to go into the top tier for me because when you listen to it, you can't sit still. It has this kind of wiggly nature to it that makes you just kind of move. And it's definitely stood the test of time. Again, hearing it perform live, it was a fantastic thing to see. Again, check out the footage on the site, on the channel, sorry. Just look for the Teowa video performing live in Brighton. It was a very enjoyable evening. Now, moving forward, we get into Sweet One. Now, this one is going into good for me. Again, this one has a lot of merit, but as a sort of standalone, I do think it would be stronger, if that makes sense. Like, this is a tune that when you put it in comparison to the other tracks on the album, it doesn't really hold up as much, but if you were to hear it, say, in like maybe a year before the album drops, it would work really, really nicely, and it would maybe hold a little bit more weight. The arrangement's good. I just don't think I can put it any higher myself, purely because of just how much I rate the other tunes. Bear in mind that I love Blessed. I love Smile. I'm literally putting these in. I'm trying to separate them all out of top tier, because to me this is a top tier album and most tracks on there are. We are getting into the nitty gritty breaking this one down. But there we go. Sweet One I'd probably put at the bottom of good. Now, this is where it gets slightly controversial because Essence is next. Now, I'm not really prepared to put Essence above good. I would probably have Smile just above Essence for me. Now, the reason for this is because I'm not basing this list off international success. I'm not basing it off chart positioning. I'm not basing it off of... Realistically, I'm not basing it off anything other than my own listening experience and my own personal favourites of what I like sonically, because that's what this channel's about at the end of the day. It's about like opinions and things like that. So for me, Essence is a good tune. I didn't have it in my top 5 when the album landed. I was surprised that this was the tune that did the best. And I don't think it's better than Smile, if I'm being entirely honest with you, in regards to collaborative nature. I don't think it's better than Mighty Wine. I don't think it's better than Reckless. I don't think it's better than True Love. I don't think it's better than Ginger or No Stress. It's on par with Blessed for me as a collaboration. And again, this is a tune that really did kind of push this album to be a worldwide phenomenon. So it might be slightly controversial having it down there, but for me, when I choose tracks to listen to off this project, I don't pick Essence. I've never run Essence in a dance. I've never run Essence on radio. It's just never really connected with me as a tune as much. Obviously, having seen it performed live by Thames, again, check out the video of that on the channel. We did have the opportunity to go and see Thames live. It does kind of make it a bit stronger. But, I don't know, it just hasn't, it's never really hit the mark for me as a tune. It might be slightly controversial, but there we go. That's what this list is all about, breaking it down and giving my personal opinions on things. Roma comes up next. Now, despite the fact we did have the opportunity to speak to Terry, I am going to put this into meh. Purely because I feel this is the closest kind of thing to filler. And there are elements of it that I do really like, which is why it's stronger. But if I was to describe this tune, it could well be in that filler category. I think there are elements about it that do save it. The overall arrangement is nice. It just feels a tad lackluster listening back now in 2022, 2 years on from it being released. I did like it when it landed. This one hasn't really stood the test of time for me, especially in comparison to the other tracks on the project. I definitely think that it could be cleaner. The mix is still a little bit a little bit rough for me. Again, I'm comparing this to other tracks on the album, not anything outside of the album. I would have. It feels like there could have been work done on it. Put it that way. But there we go. Moving forward, then, Gyrate is next on the list, and I'm going to put Gyrate at the top of solid. This is a tune that I've seen do a madness in the dance. The stripped back arrangements is clean. Rhythmically, this one absolutely slaps. There's a really nice solo vocal from Wiz on this one as well. For me, this sits probably next to No Stress and Reckless. As the strongest standalone. For me, No Stress is the strongest, but I'd say it'd always be between those three. And there aren't actually that many standalone tracks on this project. This is a very collab-heavy project looking back at it. But I do definitely think Gyrate is top of that solid list. I think Reckless might battle it out at some point, and maybe over the years my opinion will change. But there we go. Following on from this, we do have a track that we've missed, actually. We did actually miss... Yeah, we missed a track. Why have we missed a track? There's one in here. Piece of Me. I don't know why we missed Piece of Me. But yeah, Piece of Me also is going into meh. I don't know why we've missed that. It's on my notes and everything. I just skipped straight past it. Piece of Me, I'm putting below Roma. It's cool. And again, this one would work as a standalone, but I don't know anyone who's putting this into their top 5 on the project. Again, it has a lot of nice elements. Collaboratively, it does work, but again, it does fall a little bit short in hindsight, listening back in 2022. Again, solid. And I need to stress again that the tracks in the Mare section are only in the Mare section because they aren't quite as good as the tracks above. It's not because that I wouldn't want them on the album. As you can see, I haven't put anything in filler. I think everything does work on this as an overall album, and it needs all the tracks to make it as good as it does. But they're the tracks that if I had to get rid of, I would, if that makes sense. But then we finally finish off with Grace on this listing. Smooth outro, good stuff. I don't think this one is pulling up daisies in comparison to the high points, but it is a solid creation, and I'm going to put this into good, just above Sweet One. It's a really nice way to round the project off. So there we go, guys. I'm going to leave I'm going to leave this chart that I've put together in the description down below. Feel free to tweet me at CubKXVU. Tweet me your rankings for the album. I'm going to try and do something a little bit different and open up Twitter a bit more for this one. Obviously, we've got the Twitter Spaces going on alongside the Reactors Roundtable, which is obviously myself, alongside Just Vibes, Goals Reactions, Banks, and Phoenix. Do drop by the Twitter Space this Saturday. We're going to be going live from 9:30, getting into some discussions about some newer artists and seeing who we think is going to step up to the plate across the rest of 2022. So do make sure you join the community as well. I'll leave a link to that in the description down below in my Twitter feed. But yeah, I'll leave a link to this exact one on the description, and make sure you do send me your thoughts, and send me your arrangements as well. I'm keen to hear your thoughts on how you would rate the album in 2022. But there we go. As always, friends, if you're new to the channel, do make sure you are getting involved by hitting that subscribe button on the right-hand side of the page, turning notifications on, of course, leaving a like, leaving a comment, and all of that good stuff. And we shall see you all next time. Peace.
Sounding so good right now, but they're sounding a Brighton town.
Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel right now, Cubreacts TV. Stay locked.